Guys, welcome back.
Hi, guys.
Today, we're gonna give a little bit of a review, of Crystal of Atlan, because we have been playing for a week now. We have a lot of opinions as far as gameplay goes, story goes, interactivity, which we're gonna get into. So, to start, we're gonna talk about probably the thing that we can critique the most.
Yes.
That's the story. The story for Crystal of Atlan is hard to get yourself invested in, if that makes sense. I feel like a lot of what's happening, the characters don't really, I don't know if it's that they're not relatable. I can't quite put my finger on it, but basically while we're playing Crystal of Atlan, I have a hard time feeling for the characters. Whatever thing we're trying to overcome, I'm not like, woohoo, let's do it. Just feels like I'm in a hamster wheel, like I'm trying to get it done so I can get to the good stuff. Jasmine, what do you think on that?
The start of the story was a bit rough.
It is.
I didn't feel much of a connection like you were saying. I do feel once we got to Wonderland, it started to feel a bit more hypey and I felt a little bit more excited, like what's going to happen next. So I hope that high kind of continues with the story. We are still playing through it. But yeah, at the start, it was rough.
Again, we're only a week in. We're not max level. We're not done with the story. I will say we got to a point where things did start getting interesting. We went to like this mist-covered forest. There was this giant like spirit deer that we got to battle. And then the story really started to kind of put the overarching conflict into perspective. We're no longer just trying to prove ourselves as an adventurer, but we're moving more into we are the hero kind of thing.
Yeah.
And that does feel good. So I will say that it is getting better, and I'm hoping that by the time we do like a 2-week update or a 1-month update, that we can say actually the story gets really good and it leads into things. Now, going from that, the story does do a fairly good job of tying into the mechanics of the game. The mechanics are super fun. Every character has like a full set of abilities that are super customizable. You can put them in any order you want. You can also put, I guess what would be called like a secondary ability. So like if I'm pressing my 1 key and the ability on that key is on cooldown, I can have a ability on backup that when that ability is off cooldown, it activates that ability, and that's really fun.
Yeah, and I really think there is room for error, especially as a new player, where I see the list, the tree of all the abilities, and I start to feel a little bit overwhelmed. You can reset your points, which is really, really, really nice.
Yeah.
So I like the ability to be able to reset your points. It's really nice, and it's helped me kind of switch my abilities around, try something out, and then when I get a new one, I go, oh my goodness, that's better. The one thing is that guides are a little bit limited online. So it has been forcing me to learn my character myself, which is not a bad thing. But I've been having a lot of fun with the combos. I just unlocked my second ultimate and the animation is so sick.
Yeah, we did. It's called an awakening. So you get these side quests where you can do things like you can unlock new craftables, you can unlock new types of abilities. And I think the first one that we got now was called the Awakening. And now we have, just like the other keys, we have this bound to an ultimate key where we can press our ultimate, which is, I think, by default on the E key. And it has that second backup ability, which is really fun to use. So moving on from the mechanics a little bit, the other thing that's really, really good about the game is the social system. So the social systems, it's not called a guild, it's called a fleet.
Yes.
And inside of the fleet, you have a actually varying number. I think the maximum number of members is like 85 members. And you slowly like grow this airship that you're on, and you develop it where you get in combat bonuses, you get bonuses to the shops that you have access to, you get bonuses to the number of people that can be a part of the fleet, like all these different things that kind of come in, and it just feels like a group effort. And I haven't seen a game do that super well in a while, especially a game that's presented the way that Crystal of Atlan is, as this like high intensity anime MMO. And with those social systems, not only do you have access to the fleet, but you have access to missions and that sort of thing, where you can go in as co-op, which is not quite the right translation for it, because you can, instead of only doing co-op of like one person and another person, you can go up with up to 4 people into the missions. And that just adds so much to the game. It's so fun having multiple people. And while there's not quite that clear-cut tank, DPS, and healer role, there are classes, like Jasmine's class has one that gives healing to the team, damage reduction, and then there's ones where they can soak damage so that they don't have to do a lot of the movement, but they're allowed to stay in one place while the rest of us take care of other mechanics that are happening during the fight. So again, it's not quite clear-cut as support, tank, and DPS, but everybody kind of fills different roles based on what you're doing in those fights.
Yeah, and I kind of wanted to go off of a little bit of the social aspect in the game. Verdant in chat was talking about how he loves that you're able to just hang out on the fleet ship, which is so cool. Because they have that, it kind of reminds me a little bit of Monster Hunter, where you hang out in like the little gathering area. And I think with having that, they should add some sort of, I don't know, just something you can do to hang out. If it's like a little mini game to hang out with your friends or something to kind of get people to hang out there.
Yeah.
It just feels like you're kind of just standing around. But I do like that there's an area where you can group up with your fleet and kind of just hang out, jump around, and have fun. There's also the store there where if you do stuff together as a fleet or do things within your fleet or achieve things, you have coins that you can spend where you can get things for your wishes or stuff for crafting. There's tons of options there. I love that there's a separate store for your fleet. Also gives you a reason to go to the ship. And you also unlock co-op ability pretty quickly, like Seth was talking about. So you can instantly kind of start playing with your friends. I love that you almost see people instantly when you start playing. It feels like, you know, that type of gacha styled game. But when you start playing, you're kind of going through the story and it feels almost instantly. You start seeing the world and seeing people pop up and it starts feeling alive. The world feels alive.
They're using emotes. Yeah, they're doing crafting.
Jumping around. Yeah. There's also almost instantly I'm able to go up to that bird and talk to it and customize my character and kind of really make it feel like my own. True. Even though it's a character that you pick at the starting screen, but it starts making it feel like me. Like I gave her pigtails, I made her hair red, and she has my name, so it feels like me. And I know some people might hate this because it might make you feel a little bit disconnected from your character, but I love that they gave our character voice lines during the cutscenes.
True. It is actually, I think, better that your character can speak than games where your character is just like silent all the time.
Yeah.
I don't think there's an issue, or I don't think it breaks immersion.
No, not at all.
That your character can speak and that sort of thing. But I did want to say to the customization, super surprised at how good the customization is. A lot of people in the starting area, I think the game doesn't quite introduce customization until about an hour into the game. If you're actually watching the cutscenes and that sort of thing and not just skipping them, it's about an hour in when you find out that you can customize your character, but you could do it as soon as you join the game.
And for the outfits, there's a color wheel.
Yeah, exactly. So like everything can be interchanged, swapped out. If you have an outfit on, outfits have stats. So you definitely want to have an outfit on, but if you don't like the way it looks, you can toggle it off. You can change its appearance to another outfit. That sort of thing. I think they did a really good job with the game. And the next thing that I want to bring up is that at the moment, it does not feel pay to win. I think a lot of people see the wish system and see that you can pay money to do extra wishes. But as far as I can tell, those are more cosmetic than pay to win. Our current set that the game gives you is at an A level. Like they just give that to you right out of the gate. I think you can at some point get enough wishes and get super lucky and maybe get like an S rank outfit or something like that, but the stats on that S rank outfit aren't super high above what you're already wearing. And then all of those stats are completely nulled out when you go into PvP. So pay to win for me would mean that you're paying money and you're getting an advantage over other players, but you don't actually get that in this game. The only time you get any amount of advantage, which again, if you play the game completely free, I don't think that it's really noticeable, would be in the PvP PvE. And at that point, to me, that's not pay to win. So I'm just not seeing that aspect on the game. And I hope that people have heard that, actually give it a try, because I think they'll be genuinely surprised by it.
Yeah, and that was the thing that I did not like from other gacha games, is that if I wanted to try a new character that just came out for whatever their class is or their abilities or their type, like if I wanted this fire character, I'd have to sit and wish and wish and wish and just like hope I get it somehow. But with this game, you are the characters. Like you can make us your set of team, and you are each character. You can create it, customize it kind of how you want, pick your class, and that is your team. So you're not wishing for your characters. You just click add on your party and you make a new character, whatever class, and you go through the story the same way. And I love that.
Yeah.
So, and with the wishes, you mainly, it's what for resources, pets, which can also add stats to your character, and the outfits.
Yep. Last thing that I want to talk about, and then we'll kind of give like a score out of 10 for the game so far. There is a little bit of a negative towards energy. Now, we play the game at a pretty steady pace. We play other games, and I would hope that any gamer that approaches a game is not going to invest all of their time into a singular game. There is an energy system. Now, Jasmine and I were only a week in again. We're about level 55, getting close to 55.
We play for at least like 3 hours at a time, which is good play time.
We're pretty far in, and we have not hit any issues or maxed out our energy, but we have heard that some people have experienced that issue, and I think the game does a good job of answering that problem. Apparently, you can make other characters, and they have individual energy separate from your first character, which gives you an opportunity to try other classes, understand those classes better, work better with those classes, and then, yeah, exactly. Kid Boo in the chat says, if I run out of energy and I want to keep playing, I go to an alt. Exactly. So you can jump to a different character, and those characters, the currency that they're earning, can be used across different characters. So you're not necessarily completely going to another character to invest in just that character. You're also gaining benefits for your main character, and the alt characters that you make, I believe, get some like experience bonuses, that sort of thing. So I think it's a problem, but it's also not a problem. I think they want people to have multiple characters, and a lot of our the people that watch us and friends of ours that are playing the game, they have multiple characters, so they end up with multiple energy bars. And so if they're dumping all of their time into this game, even they aren't reaching the end, a point where they have to invest money in the game to keep playing it. So I'm not sure what's going to happen with that once we reach level 60, if energy is going to be consumed faster, but we're not having that issue yet, and I hope it stays that way.
Yeah, and this might be an off take, I'm not sure, but I like that they do that. I like that they have the energy. When I get obsessed with a game, I just want to play, and then I get burned out, and then I kind of stop. I like that they have that. I haven't ran into it personally, but if I did, it kind of gives me that break. It tells me to go to another character if I want to try another class, to kind of have like a fresh feel. But I think it helps people not get burnout.
That's true. I think people with MMOs do have an issue with pacing themselves. Getting burnout on an MMO before the next patch drops, before the next big boss is released, is really common. And you see that happen in a lot of games where the gameplay will spike up, and then after like 2-3 weeks after that boss has been released, it all goes down.
Yeah.
And it will just stay down for months until the next boss is released, and then it'll spike back up.
Because they rushed through all the content.
Yeah.
They did everything. There's no new shiny thing. And I think that keeps a steady pace where they're coming back to it fresh. There's something new, something exciting to do. And they're not just speed running it all in one night and then waiting for the next drop. So I like that they do the energy. I think they pace it very well. Somebody in our chat was saying that, speaking on energy, I haven't reached level 60 myself, but from what I've been told, you unlock a second energy bar at level 60.
Oh, very cool.
So we have some people close, like Kid Boo said that they're almost 60, so we will see if that is the case. But yeah, we've played for like 4 hours at a time, and I haven't run into energy problems.
Yeah.
And when you do wishes, or when you just kind of play through the game, I've noticed that I've earned energy, so I can go to my bag and then like select it and add energy to my bar.
So last thing I'll say to that, Kid Boo also brought up a great point that he's waiting for Mechanist to come out because it looks really fun. I think that's also an interesting thing, that it encourages you to play other classes. And by doing that, by encouraging that, when they release new classes, it's easier to just pick up that class, give it a try, see if it fits you. And if you end up liking it, it might become your new main. I used to play a crap ton of World of Warcraft, and I was actually, I had a hunter and a death knight. And then they released druids to be available for the troll race. And I just absolutely fell in love with using their racial ability in PvP. Like having a way to generate extra haste and that sort of thing by having the berserk on, it made me really appreciate that. And that became my new main. And it was for years after I had already been playing the game for years. And I honestly wouldn't have done that if they also didn't come out with a new starting area for that character. It took a lot of encouragement for me to go give that a shot. And then once I did, I was super happy that I did. So I think it's a decent system. Now, all that being said,
yes,
we've been playing for a week. We've put in about a week's playtime. Our community has been at it for about 2 weeks now. Where would you rate the game out of 10 so far?
I am stuck between like a 7 or 8 out of 10. And the reason is the story isn't really hitting for me.
Not gripping
I think
yet.
It's getting better.
Something started.
So I am excited. I think maybe my rating will change. Again, we're only about a week into playing. But the reason why I gave it the score that I did is I love that it's like that gacha game like style. I don't know if I can say a name of a game specifically.
Yeah,
but,
absolutely. Yeah,
okay.
Absolutely.
So the reason why I gave it that rating is because it reminds me of all the things that I love about games like Genshin Impact. I love the art style a lot. I love the quest system. And the one downside for me with games like that was the multiplayer co-op. The way that they did it, it felt very limited. I felt like I couldn't do a lot with my friends. And I want to play a game in that art style. But I didn't like the gacha system where I couldn't try out different characters in different classes unless I got it from a Gamba Wish. And I couldn't really play with my friends. I could only do a handful of bosses. And this game gives me everything that I loved with games like Genshin and all the things that I wish games like Genshin had. Yeah. I'm able to play with my friends. I'm able to do tons of dungeons. I'm able to have a full guild fleet. So I can not only hang out with my friends, but I have all the art styles. I got all the wishes that I want where I can play all the characters, all the different style of characters and classes just by trying it out myself. I don't have to Gamba Wish it. And there's pets.
It's interesting you bring up Genshin because a lot of the people that said, I don't like the energy system, I'm going back to Genshin, I don't think they know how to play Genshin Impact because I would literally log into Genshin and zero out all of my limited energy stuff in like 30 minutes. And then what do you do after that? You wait for the next story to drop? Like, that's it. You would just log in every day.
Boring.
It felt grindy. Whereas this energy is contributing to currently the story quests that we're on, the side quests and that sort of thing. It just, in my opinion, feels better than a lot of the other systems. For me, I would also currently give it a 7 out of 10. I'm leaning towards an 8 out of 10 because the story finally stopped feeling like a fever dream. Some interesting stuff happened in that mist kind of forest. We're kind of going back towards the fever dream. We're helping out a guy that works at a factory, but it is all linked together. And I think that the overarching story is starting to kind of rear its head and show itself. And maybe that just becomes more accessible at max level. We'll find out.
Yeah. You want to go ahead? Finish?
If you're watching this on YouTube, this is a brand new channel. We are going to be posting things like Crystal of Atlan here. We're going to be posting pretty much anything that has to do with this anime style games, anime reactions, all of that stuff. So we hope you're really enjoying the content so far. Not a lot yet, but there is more coming. Jasmine, anything you want to say to that?
I'm really excited for this journey. I'm excited that I found a game like this of everything that I wanted in a game with this art style. I'm excited to play more, and we'll give more updates and post our journey.
Like the video, subscribe.
Yes.
Come check us out on Twitch, GhoulxGhoul on Twitch, and we hope to see you in the next video.
Until next time, bye.
Bye.